My name's Eric. I'm 28, and this story starts on a Christmas morning that still plays in my head like a bad song I can't stop hearing. I never really hoped for much during the holidays, not because I didn't care, but because I learned early that expecting stuff in my family just led to being let down. We weren't poor, but we weren't rich either. My parents always had enough for people they liked. And for the last few years, that person hasn't been me. This year was the same. The living room smelled like cinnamon candles and the fake pine tree we used every year. My mom cared a lot about how things looked. She made sure the garland was fluffy, the lights were warm, and all the cocoa mugs matched. The gifts under the tree looked super fancy, neatly wrapped boxes with gold ribbons and tags in her pretty slanted writing. Everyone was there. My sister Danielle and her husband Jason, my dad's sister Aunt Carla, even my little cousin Noah in his itchy Christmas sweater. I was sitting on the couch arm, watching everyone open their presents, smiling like I belonged there. Then, I noticed something. A pattern. Every person opened a gift, smiled, and read a note out loud. The notes were long, sweet, and full of feelings. To my sweet Danielle, thank you for always being my rock, my mom wrote to her. Jason got a note saying thank you for being the man they always dreamed of for their daughter. My dad's note from mom talked about them being a strong team. Even Aunt Carla got one thanking her for being like a second mom during hard times. Then it was my turn. I looked for a box, a bag, even a card. Nothing. The laughing got quiet when people noticed I hadn't opened anything. Danielle looked at me, then at her watch. It was weird. I finally asked, nice but clear, "Hey, is there something I'm supposed to be opening?" Mom didn't even look up from her mug. She stirred it like the cocoa made her mad. "No," she said, "because you didn't give us anything this year, not even respect." The silence wasn't loud. It felt sharp, like a needle poking your skin. My dad said nothing. Danielle bit her lip, like she wanted to speak but was scared. Noah looked at all of us, confused, but sensing something was really wrong. I just nodded. No arguing, no talking back. I felt weird, not numb, but really quiet inside. Not angry, just deeper than hurt. I stood up and went upstairs. I didn't slam the door or stomp, I just moved. There was a box under my bed, a heavy one, taped and sealed for years. I had thought about throwing it away so many times, but I never could. Some small part of me wouldn't let me forget. It didn't want to pretend it didn't matter. I came back down holding the box. My dad blinked when he saw it. My mom froze mid-stir. Danielle's eyes went wide. She knew what it was. Aunt Carla shifted in her seat. Her jaw got tight. I didn't say anything. I just put the box on the coffee table and stepped back. Danielle was the first to talk. "Eric, is that what I think it is?" I didn't answer. My dad slowly reached for it, like it might hurt him. He peeled the tape off like it was made of glass. Inside were a bunch of envelopes, some old camcorder tapes, and one manila folder with a bent corner. His whole face changed. He went pale, like super pale. My mom leaned over, saw what was inside, and her whole face just dropped. She blinked fast, like she wanted the moment to disappear. You didn't really keep that," she whispered. Danielle grabbed one of the envelopes. Her hands shook. "Is this from that year?" I finally spoke. "It's from all the years. Every single one." Aunt Carla's voice was soft, like she didn't want others to hear. "You said you destroyed those. You promised you'd never use them." I laughed, not because it was funny, but because how fast things changed. Half an hour ago, I was the bad son, the one who didn't care. Now they were staring at a box they wished never existed, and I was just standing there, quiet. Danielle picked up one of the tapes. She read the label. Her voice shook. "Christmas 2005. Mom yelling. Dad threatening. Don't." My mom spoke loudly. This is not the time. It's exactly the time, I said. You made this morning about respect. Let's talk about what that really means. My dad closed the box quickly. This doesn't need to go any further. I took a deep breath. Calm. No, it needs to go exactly as far as it has to. The room got super quiet. Not even Noah moved. Aunt Carla stared at me. You're not really going to use that, are you? I looked her in the eyes. And that's when Danielle stood up. She stood slowly, holding the tape like it weighed a ton. Her voice was soft, but cut through the air like a knife. I remember this Christmas. I was 10. I couldn't sleep, so I went downstairs. I heard yelling. Mom, you were screaming. Dad, you threw a chair. And then the next morning, you smiled for the camera like nothing happened. You handed us gifts like we were some perfect TV family. She looked at the tape. I thought I dreamed it. I told myself for years it wasn't real, but you filmed it. You filmed it, Eric. I nodded once. I didn't mean to at first. I had that old camcorder Grandpa gave me. Remember how I recorded everything? That night, I left it on by accident. I watched it later, and I just kept it. My mom's voice got high and defensive. You were a child. You didn't understand what was happening. We were stressed. You called me a mistake, I said. You told Dad you wished you'd never had a second kid, that I ruined your body and your life. Then you both joked about sending me to live with Aunt Carla. She flinched like I slapped her. Danielle sat down again, still holding the tape. Jason leaned forward, trying to understand. Wait, he said. You recorded proof of all this abuse, and your family just ignored it? They didn't ignore it, I said. They pretended it didn't happen, which is worse. My dad finally spoke. His voice sounded like a speech. Eric, we made mistakes, but we've moved past them. This is not the way. I cut him off. You moved past them. I carried them. His jaw tightened. You're holding on to ancient history. Digging it up for what? Pity? Revenge? I stepped closer to the table. No, just the truth. My mom stood up too, her face red. You think this makes you look good? Keeping tapes like some crazy historian? You're not a hero. You're just bitter. You think bringing this up will fix anything? You're only hurting your family. I looked around. You're right. I am hurting my family. But not because of today. Because of what you did and how you made me carry it in silence for 20 years. No one moved. Aunt Carla looked like she wanted to disappear. My mom turned to Danielle. Tell him to stop this. Tell him it's wrong. Danielle shook her head slowly. I can't, because he's right. We all let it happen. We let the damage grow like mold in the walls. Every Christmas we painted over it and hoped no one noticed the smell. Jason put a hand on her shoulder. What's in the folder? He asked. I picked it up, opened it, and slid the papers onto the coffee table. Photocopies of journal pages, therapy notes, even one hospital paper from when I was 16. My mom gasped when she saw the letterhead. I thought you said you were in a car accident, she whispered. I didn't answer. Danielle looked at the papers. You went to the ER that night. Concussion, bruised ribs. You said you fell. I didn't, I said. Dad shoved me into the door frame. No, my dad said quickly. That's not true. You tripped. You were running. I was hiding, I said. And suddenly, the whole feeling in the room changed. No more pretending. No more cocoa and candles and wrapping paper lies. The walls weren't just cracking. They were falling apart. Aunt Carla put her hand over her mouth. You kept all this for years? I did, because I knew this day would come. The day you tried to erase me for not fitting into your perfect holiday picture. My mom was shaking now. What do you want from us? An apology? Is that it? I didn't answer because, honestly,
I didn't know. For years, I just wanted them to see me. Then, I wanted them to feel the pain I did. Then, I wanted to disappear forever. Now, I wasn't sure anymore. But I knew this. The moment I brought that box downstairs, I wasn't the quiet, invisible one anymore. I was the mirror they couldn't avoid, the one showing every crack they tried to hide. Danielle picked up another tape, flipping it slowly in her hand. "You were alone in this house for so long," she said quietly, "and none of us even asked how that affected you." The fire popped. My dad sat back down. His face didn't show anything. Aunt Carla looked up at me, her eyes sharp, like she was scared. "What are you planning to do with all this?" I looked right at her, but didn't say a word. Because right then, my phone buzzed on the table. Everyone looked at it, a message from a number they didn't know. I read it, smiled, and slid the phone across the table to my dad. He picked it up, read the screen, and his hand began to shake. Danielle leaned over his shoulder and read it too. Then she looked at me, shocked. "Eric, what did you do?" I just stood there, silent, waiting. My dad's hand tightened around the phone like he wanted to crush it. His eyes went back and forth between me and the screen. He tried to speak, stopped, then tried again. You sent this to them?" His voice broke. He sounded smaller than I'd ever heard. Not angry, not yelling, just scared. I didn't blink. "I did." Danielle grabbed the phone before he could hide it. She read the message fast, then her face totally changed. Her usual calm was gone, and she looked shocked. "You contacted a lawyer?" Aunt Carla sat up straighter. "What lawyer?" She read out loud, voice shaking. "Confirming receipt of all materials for case review, emotional neglect, physical abuse, financial exploitation as discussed. Will begin processing before the holiday break. Please save copies of all original evidence. Signed, Evelyn Pratt, Family Advocacy and Civil Litigation." The room froze. No one coughed, no one whispered. It was like the air stopped. My mom stepped forward fast, not walking, charging. "You can't do this. You wouldn't. You, Eric, we're your parents. We raised you." I looked at her. Really looked. "No, you tolerated me. You raised Danielle. You just survived me. There's a difference." She actually moved back like my words hit her. My dad finally spoke again, quieter. "This will destroy us. Do you understand that? You'll ruin the family." I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped pretending it wasn't ruined already. Jason, still holding the tape, looked at all of us. "Wait," he said slowly. "This is a real legal case." I nodded. "It's a review for now, civil, but if what I said matches what's in the papers—" I didn't finish. I didn't need to. Danielle leaned forward, resting her arms on her knees. She was pale. "You could have told me," she said quietly. "I tried," I said just as soft. "When we were kids, you always said I was being dramatic, that I made things up." She closed her eyes. "I was 12, Eric. I didn't know better." "I know that now." Aunt Carla looked like she was trying to connect the dots in her head. "What exactly did you send them? Just the tapes?" I opened the folder again and spread the papers on the table. Therapy notes, journal pages, even one hospital paper from when I was 16. My mom gasped when she saw the letterhead. "I thought you said you were in a car accident." "I know," I said, "and I had a feeling you might try to say I made that up. This was the night you locked me out and wouldn't let me in." "That's the night when Katie Lanster called the police," Aunt Carla whispered. "I wasn't making noise outside. I couldn't breathe from the headliner and I couldn't open the door." Jason's eyes got big. "You ran away and they didn't call the police?" "They said I was being dramatic and grounded me when I came back." That hit harder than I thought. Danielle put her face in her hands. Jason looked sick. My mom dropped onto the couch, shaking her head. So, what happens now? Are you going to drag all our mistakes into the open? Let lawyers go through our lives like we're in a crime show? I didn't answer right away. I looked around the room. The garland, the tree, the half-opened gifts, the cookies that were barely touched. It looked like every other family Christmas, but underneath, it was rotten. I didn't want to do this, I said calm, but this morning made it clear. You still think you've done nothing wrong? You punished me for just being me, for not being what you wanted. And now you're surprised I'm finally fighting back. But what will they do? Will they come after us? They'll do whatever they're allowed to do. Maybe it becomes public. Maybe it's just compensation. Maybe it's nothing. But they'll see everything. Aunt Carla looked like she might throw up. You're tearing this family apart. No, I'm just showing what it really is. Danielle's voice cut through the air again, soft like glass cracking. What about me? Am I part of this? I looked at her gently. No, not unless you want to be. I know you were a kid. I know you didn't mean to look away. But if you want the truth, I'm not doing this to punish anyone now. I'm doing it because I deserve peace. Jason cleared his throat. You could have just left, cut ties. Why now? Why like this? I looked at him. Because I tried to walk away, but they always pulled me back for holidays, for family stuff, for appearances. And this morning showed they still see me as less. That's not distance, that's control. Jason nodded slowly. Danielle wiped her eyes. And for the first time that morning, my dad looked totally lost. His eyes stared at the floor. He didn't speak. My mom didn't either. That's when I knew they didn't know what to say. Not because they were sorry, but because they weren't in charge anymore. Then the doorbell rang. It was still morning, just after 10. Everyone looked up, confused. No one moved. Another ring. 3 seconds later, a loud knock. My mom turned to me, her eyes sharp. Did you? I didn't say anything. I already knew who it was. And the second that door opened, everything would change. But I just stood there and waited. Danielle stood first, like it was automatic. She walked to the door while everyone else froze like time had stopped. The knock came again, louder. Danielle paused, her hand on the knob, and looked back at me for a sign. I gave her one nod. She opened it. A woman in a long gray coat walked in with another woman beside her holding a briefcase. The woman in the coat smiled, but she looked powerful. Eric Halverson? She asked, calm but serious. That's me.
She nodded. I'm Evelyn Pratt. This is my associate, Leah. We're here to collect the physical evidence you agreed to give. She turned to my stunned family and added, We'll be quick. My mom's face turned white. You're not serious. You brought them here on Christmas? I shrugged. It's when they were available. I didn't think you'd be busy ignoring me again this year. Danielle looked back and forth between me and the two women like she was watching a crazy show. You really did it. You didn't just talk about it, you actually did it. Evelyn and Leah moved like pros. They pulled out a small scanner, gloves, and a form to sign. I gave them the tapes, the folder, and my old camcorder. The lens was still scratched. Evelyn went through everything calmly. My dad stood there, looking like he was about to explode. You could have talked to us, handled this quietly. You didn't have to embarrass us like this. No, I said. I had to. Because staying quiet is what let all this happen. Evelyn didn't even look up as she spoke. Mr. Halverson, if you have questions, we can schedule a time.
My mom jumped in, her voice shaking. "Do you know what you're doing to this family? You're poisoning it." "No," Evelyn said, still not looking at her. "He's cleaning it." The words hit hard. My mom stepped back, mouth open, and sat down like her legs gave out. Leah came up to me and handed me a paper to sign. "Consent for digital copies. We'll scan and save these for the report. You keep the originals unless a court asks for them." I signed it right away. Danielle watched everything and slowly sat down next to Jason. Her voice was soft. "You were alone for so long, and we just let it stay that way." I finally turned to her. "You were a kid," I said. "And later, you just got used to how they treated me, like I didn't deserve the same." She wiped her eyes. "I didn't know how bad it really was. I swear I didn't." "I know, but you could have asked." Evelyn finished packing. "We'll follow up next week. There are options. Money damages, legal actions, or even group talks if the client wants." She looked at me. "But it's your choice." "Thank you," I said. As they left, Evelyn turned to my parents and said one last thing. "You will be contacted soon. I suggest you cooperate. Denying it won't stop anything." The door closed with a soft click. For a few seconds, no one said a word. Just the heater and the fire made sounds. Then my mom stood again, slowly, like she had just fallen. She looked right at me, not past me, but at me, for the first time in forever.